Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today we will discuss thyroid hormone. Basic pharmacology and physiology of thyroid hormone will be discussed in this lecture. The thyroid is a small butterfly shaped gland which is located at the base of your neck just below the Adam's apple. It's part of an intricate network of glands called the endocrine system. The endocrine system is responsible for coordinating many of your body activities. The secretion of hormones from the thyroid is controlled by anterior pituitary by the elaboration of thyrotropin. The relation between the two glands is depicted in this figure. The negative feedback by the thyroid hormone is exercised directly on the pituitary as well as through hypothalamus. The normal thyroid gland secretes sufficient amounts of the thyroid hormones, triiodothyronine T3 and tetraiodothyronine T4, which is also known as thyroxine, to normalize growth and development, temperature and energy levels. These hormones contain 59% and 65% respectively of iodine as an essential part of the molecule. Calcitonin, the second type of thyroid hormone, is important in the regulation of calcium metabolism, and we will discuss this hormone in next lecture. The actions of T4 and T3 are qualitatively similar and are nicely depicted in the features of hypo and hyperthyroidism. They affect the function of practically all body cells. They affect carbohydrate, protein and fat metabolism. And in lipid metabolism, T4 and T3 indirectly enhance lipolysis by potentiating the action of catecholamines and other lipolytic hormones. And in case of carbohydrates, carbohydrate metabolism is also stimulated. So, utilization of sugar by tissue is increased, mainly secondary to increased BMR. But glycogenolysis and gluconeogenesis in liver as well as faster absorption of glucose from the intestine more than compensated, and so it will lead to hyperglycemia and diabetic like state. And in protein metabolism, synthesis of certain proteins is increased, but the overall effect of T3 is catabolic. T3, T4, they will increase BMR, and they have a vital role in growth and development of the body. And in GIT, they will increase appetite, secretion and motility of the gut. In case of cardiovascular system, they increase the sensitivity to catecholamines. So what will happen? There will be increase in heart rate, and they have a role in they have profound functional effect on CNS. And mental retardation is the hallmark of cretinism. Sluggishness and other behavioral features are seen in mixed edema, and hyperthyroid individuals are anxious, nervous, excitable. And T3, T4, they have a role in skeletal muscles also. Muscles are flabby and weak in mixed edema, while in thyrotoxicosis they will produce increased muscle tone, tremor, and there may be weakness due to myopathy. And on kidneys, T4, T3 do not cause diuresis in euthyroid individuals, but the rate of urine flow is often increased when mixed edematous patients are treated with it. They have also a role in hematopoiesis and reproduction. Here steps of thyroid hormone synthesis are shown. First of all, iodide is uptaken by the gland, and total body content of iodide obtained from food and water is 30 to 50 milligram, and out of which about 1/5 is present in the thyroid. Concentration of iodide in blood is low, that is 0.2 to 0.4 microgram per deciliter, but thyroid cells have an active transport process which is sodium iodide symporter. We will discuss in next slide. And then iodide is trapped by follicular cells and is carried across the apical membrane by another transporter termed pendrin. And then pairs of iodinated tyrosyl residues, they will couple together to form T3 and T4. Normally much more T4 than T3 is formed, but during iodine deficiency relatively more monoiodotyrosin is available. So what will happen? There will be more production of T3. And then thyroglobulin containing iodinated tyrosyl and thyronyl residue is transported to the interior of the follicles and remains stored as thyroid colloid till it is taken back in the cells by endocytosis and broken down by lysosomal proteins. In this diagram, steps for the thyroid hormone synthesis are beautifully described. Here you can see A, B, C, D. These are steps sequence wise. First of all, what will happen? Iodide is transported with the help of sodium iodide symporter, and then it will change into iodine, and then it will couple with tyrosine, and then iodinated tyrosine residues, they will resorb and they will stay there until it is needed by the body. And what will happen? There will be proteolysis and then deiodination of DIT and MIT and deiodination of T4. In this slide again, different steps of biosynthesis of thyroid hormone along with inhibitor at each step is also shown. Once taken up by the thyroid gland, iodide undergoes a series of enzymatic reactions that incorporate it into active thyroid hormone. The first step is transport of iodide into the thyroid gland by an intrinsic follicle cell basement membrane protein called the sodium iodide symporter. And this can be inhibited by anions like thiocyanate, pertechnetate and perchlorate as shown in the figure. At the apical cell membrane, a second iodide transporter enzyme called pendrin controls the flow of iodide across the membrane. And then second step is iodide is oxidized by thyroid peroxidase to iodine, in which form it rapidly iodinates tyrosine residues within the thyroglobulin molecule to form MIT and DIT. And this is called iodide organification. Thyroid peroxidase is transiently blocked by high levels of intrathyroidal iodide and blocked more persistently by thiamide drugs. And then two molecules of DIT combines to form T form and one MIT and DIT combine to form T3. In addition to thyroglobulin, other proteins within the gland may be iodinated, but these iodoproteins don't have hormonal activity. So T3, MIT and DIT, they are released from thyroglobulin by exocytosis and proteolysis of thyroglobulin at the apical colloid border. And MIT and DIT, they are deiodinated with the gland and within the gland, and the iodine is reutilized for further formation of thyroid hormone. In this slide, you can see that monoiodotyrosin combines with diiodotyrosin to form T3, while 2-iodotyrosin, diiodotyrosin will combine to form T4. Here in this slide, you can see there are some stimulatory factors and some are inhibitory factors for the production of thyroid. As cold, acute psychosis and circadian and pulsatile rhythms, they will enhance the formation of T3, T4, while severe stress can lead to hypothyroidism. Control of thyroid function via thyroid pituitary feedback is also discussed in previous slide. Uh, Hypothalamic cells secrete thyrotropin releasing hormone, that is TRH, and TRH is secreted into capillaries of the pituitary portal venous system, and in the pituitary gland TRH will stimulate the synthesis and release of thyrotropin, that is thyroid stimulating hormone. And what thyroid stimulating hormone will do, that it will in turn stimulates an adenylyl cyclase mediated mechanism in the thyroid cells to increase the synthesis and release of T4 and T3. T4 and T3 in plasma are reversibly bound to proteins, primarily thyroxine binding globulin. Only about 0.04% of total T4 and 0.4% of T3 exist in the free form. Many physiological and pathological states and drugs can affect T4 and T3 and thyroid transport. Here are the factors which can alter binding. The factors which can increase binding, means increase binding of hormones to proteins, are estrogens, methadone, clofebrate, 5-fluorouracil, heroin and tamoxifen. While the factors which will decrease binding to the proteins are glucocorticoids, androgens, L-asparginase, salicylates, mefenamic acid and anti-seizure drugs. This slide is showing summary of thyroid hormone pharmacokinetics. Volume of distribution for T4 is 10 liter, while for T3 it is 40 liters. And production of T4 is 75 microgram and T3 is produced 25 microgram per day. Half-life of T4 is 7 days and half-life of T3 is 1 day. That is the reason that T4 is used clinically, because it has a long half-life. And serum concentration of T4 is 4.8 to 10.4 microgram per deciliter, but for T3 it is 79 to 149 microgram per deciliter, and free form of T4 is 0.7 to 1.86 nanogram per deciliter. And T3 is in very small amount, it is 145 to 348 picogram per deciliter. As far as potency is concerned, T3 is 4 times more potent as compared to T4. And daily secretion is 80 microgram and T4 is produced 4 microgram and absorption is 80%, while that for T3 it is 95%. Now we will see how they will produce their action. A model of thyroid hormone action is depicted in this figure, which shows that the free form of thyroid hormone, that is T4 and T3, is dissociated from thyroid binding proteins and entering the cells by active transport. Within the cell, T4 is converted to T3 by 5-deiodinase enzyme, and the T3 will enter into the nucleus, where it will bind to a specific receptor protein, a member of the C-erb oncogene family. The T3 receptor exists in two forms, alpha and beta forms. Most of the effects of thyroid on metabolic processes appear to be mediated by activation of these nuclear receptors that lead to increased formation of RNA and subsequent protein synthesis. For example, there will be increased formation of sodium potassium ATPase, and this is consistent with the observation that the action of thyroid is manifested in vivo with a time lag of hours or days, as we have also discussed this mechanism of action in general pharmacology while we learned signaling mechanisms. Large number of thyroid hormone receptors are found in the most hormone responsive tissues, that are pituitary, liver, kidney, heart, skeletal muscle, lung and intestine, while few receptor sites occur in hormone unresponsive tissues like spleen and testes. The brain, which lacks an anabolic responses to T3, contains an intermediate member of receptors. In next lecture, we will learn about the conditions which arise from the deficiency or excess of these hormones in our body. Thanks.